In the year 2024, England was a land transformed by the force of modernity and cultural shifts. Among the many surprising laws enacted, the banning of the word church stood out like a historical rupture. The story of this ban begins with a single event that shook the foundations of tradition. It all started when a growing movement of secular activists, known as the New Progressives, began questioning the relevance of age-old institutions in an increasingly digital and interconnected world. Their argument was not against faith itself, but the institutional forms that they claimed had dominated society for too long. The idea of church, they said, evoked not just a place of worship, but a system of hierarchical control that clashed with their vision of absolute individual freedom and community-driven collectives. At first, their movement was met with skepticism and dismissal. After all, churches had been cornerstones of English culture for millennia, historical sites, places of solace, and centers of communal life. However, as society continued to evolve, so too did attitudes toward tradition. Young people, increasingly unaffiliated with organized religion, began to question why certain words, like church, should still hold a place of reverence when so many had stopped believing in what they represented. The tipping point came during a live televised debate, where a charismatic leader of the New Progressives, Amelia Rein, sparred with a traditionalist Archbishop, Richard Holloway. Rein argued passionately that the word church no longer reflected the reality of modern England. She spoke of how the term excluded those from other faiths, the spiritual but not religious, and the growing number of atheists who felt alienated by the symbolic weight of the word. Archbishop Holloway defended the role of the church as a beacon of hope, moral guidance, and continuity in an uncertain world. But Rein's arguments struck a chord with the younger audience. Soon after, petitions flooded Parliament, and discussions about whether the word church was outdated became a national conversation. Within a year, Parliament passed the Secular Language Reform Act, which, among many other provisions, banned the official use of the word church in public institutions. Instead, they proposed that all such institutions be referred to as community centers or spiritual spaces, reflecting a more inclusive and modern approach to worship and gathering. The ban did not go uncontested. Protests erupted from both sides. Religious communities felt their history was being erased, while others saw it as a necessary step to liberate language from the weight of the past. England became a nation divided, its skyline still dotted with church spires, but its public language transformed. While churches themselves were not outlawed, the mere utterance of the word in an official capacity became a taboo, punishable by fines. In schools, church was replaced in history lessons by more neutral terms like faith gathering place or medieval meeting halls. In rural England, older generations continued to whisper church among themselves, holding onto the word like a relic of a world slipping away. Meanwhile, in the cities, where the future was being forged in tech startups and hyper-connected communities, the new lexicon flourished. The once powerful word, church, now existed only in the past, a memory of a different England, one where tradition and progress had not yet come to a head. And so, a single word, once a cornerstone of life, disappeared from the present, leaving behind a new era of meaning and identity. In the years that followed, people would reflect on the ban with a sense of wonder and confusion. Had it been a step toward progress, or an overreach that erased a piece of the nation's soul? Time, as always, would be the final judge.